Hey, welcome back to the podcast, Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I'm your host, Evil Dungeon Master Vince. It is Friday. It is time for another podcast. The weekend is upon us. Hopefully, you have a game going on out there. If not, hopefully, you're doing something in gaming, if not planning or reading or something. As long as you're doing something as far as AD&D or your favorite game, then you're pretty much doing something. I know it sounds silly. Anyway, ask the DM at theevildm.com. Theevildm.com is my website. Patreon.com/theevildm. If you'd like to support my efforts and throw a few bucks that way, I appreciate it. That's about it. YouTube.com/theevildm. Rumble.com/theevildm. All right, I think I'm done. Anyway, today we're going to talk a little bit about something that most DMs kind of, forget about. And I found a really cool article in an old Polyhedron magazine, number, I believe it's 30. Let me flip back here. 38. Yeah. Yeah. Listed as number 38. And that is the role of taxes in your campaign. Now, a lot of DMs kind of forget about the whole tax situation. And it's also, I know, with the whole training and everything, that's a way to get the gold away from the players. I understand that. Not a lot of people I know with do play with the training aspect for leveling up, which is fine. Your campaign, your rules, you do what you want, but there has to be a taxation system. With society, there is a taxation system. I do a taxation system in my games. With the monthly tax thing going on that's listed inside the AD&D DM's guide. But there is another one in Polyhedron number 38 called The Role of Taxes by Rodney J. Paddock. Paddock? I don't know how you pronounce his last name. And this is the example that they give you right in the beginning, and I'll read that and go over this kind of briefly, and I'll include the screenshot of this one page in the notes for this show on my website, so you can kind of look it over yourself. But it says, DM, after counting the last of your treasure, you find you have 10,000 gold pieces, and upon receiving your reward, it will total 15,000 gold pieces. Party. Good. We go to the king and ask for our reward. DM. The king deducts 15% tax from your reward and gives you the remainder. Party. Taxes? What are you talking about? So one of the puzzling things about campaigns in fact, that parties of mercenaries go through life without ever paying a copper in tax prices, it says here. And why is this? This article answers the questions and provides a system for taxing PCs. So why have a taxation system? This is what it lists. Throughout literature and history, people have taxed in one form or another. Kingdoms and baronies are expensive to operate for any king. The money is needed for the upkeep of an army, food, land, are gained through taxation. However, some kings take things one step too far and overtax their people. Overtaxation can, however, prove fatal for some monarchs. This is one factor of taxation which may give players the room for some unique and ingenious role playing. And it goes about how you can implement a tax system, how you can use it taxing gold and coins, gems and jewelry, furs, art, even magical items. There are some ways to exempt certain things, and you can make up the laws and rules for that. And then there gives you another way for increasing taxes and reasons why you increase tax, maybe because of war or food or shortage supplies of supplies. And then, obviously, corruption is the big one. So there are different ways that you can implement taxes into your campaign. And obviously, the King's Cut, like I read in the beginning, is a big one. But I was thinking of ways how you can implement it in your campaign. You can have the tax collector NPC introduce an NPC tax collector. He may be fair and honest, or maybe he skims off the top. Either way, he becomes a familiar face at the end of each quest, asking for a little bit of tax. Now, I have a running joke in my basic fantasy campaign where every time the paladin goes to the church, the collection plate comes out and they kind of go, and slide the plate in front of the paladin, so he has to donate something. And it's more of just a running joke, and he usually puts a gold piece in there, and that's all it is. But it's just a running joke of how silly tax and collecting could be when it comes to these situations. Another one is a toll bridge, a river crossing a heavily guarded bridge. To pass, each adventurer must pay a set fee or hand over a gem. The toll goes to fund the local army or maybe straight into the captain's pockets. That is a perfect way to implement some type of tax on land area. You have this bridge that goes over this giant canyon. You want to use said bridge? Well, you can use the bridge, but you got to pay some taxes to get over that bridge. Why you got to pay taxes? Well, the bridge needs maintenance and it has to have people guarding it so people don't cut it down. And, this is a good choke off point in case, evil people try to run across it, or good people, depending. So, yeah, that's the reason why you would have a toll bridge. Toll bridges have armies that will take advantage of this. So, why not? I don't know any baron, king, count, whatever in the area that would not take advantage of a bridge that crosses over through the land that he is on. He would definitely use that as a taxation area. The goods tax. If the players sell the treasure in town, the guild master informs them there is a 10% sales tax. This could spark some role playing negotiation. Do they pay? Do they smuggle? Do they bribe? Do they go to the black market? I don't know. So there's always that. I mean, you could do that. Sales tax is one of the most common things that you could do. I don't know about 10%, maybe a little bit lower than that, but 10% is pretty high. The church's share, like we were discussing before with the paladin in my campaign with the joke, the temple demands a tithe payments on recovered gold, claiming divine ownership. Refusing might mean the loss of healing or blessing. Paying could earn future favors. So while the paladin in my campaign is doing that as just basically kind of a silly joke that we've all laughed at, this could be something serious. Maybe there is a town that they're using as a kind of a base of operations, and they're going on quests and finding, I don't know, maybe they're finding gold in old temples or crypts or something. Well, the church has decided that, that is divine gold that you found there. So you must tithe some of that back to the church. You can have your share for finding it, but the church needs its money back. So, and then the property tax hook, the players buy a keep, a tower, or land. Property taxes kick in. Missing payments lead to guards or bounty hunters at the door, or a rival noble seizing the land. In my basic fantasy campaign, I've implemented this system as well. When it comes to there's a guild hall, they have their guild hall inside the town where their base of operations is, and they pay a land tax once a month. And I was using the rules based out in the AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide. So there are some ways how you can implement tax in there, as far as on items and gold and stuff like that. So looking at the article, it's not that big of an article. It's just going to give you some ideas how to move forward with taxation in the campaign. And I think it's something you may want to try when it comes to your campaign. It may not be the best idea, but you know what? It does make sense because campaigns have taxation. I mean, fantasy worlds do in some cases have taxation, and I've seen it in various fantasy novels. Now, it may not be the focus. It might be a background thing. They say that they're paying their taxes or they're giving money to certain people for certain reasons. But we all know various TV shows that we've seen with that have a fantasy basis with it, or a cartoon or something. A lot of times it does deal with taxation and things like that, with evil kings overtaxing, or evil barons, whatever you want to call it, or people owning land. And remember Robin Hood Men in Tights? They stole his entire castle because he didn't pay taxes for all those years. So yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think about taxation in your campaign. Do you follow any rules? Like, do you follow the AD&D uh, DM's guide when it comes to taxation and rent and stuff like that? Once a month fees that you should charge your players. I'm just curious if that's something that you've looked upon and used in your campaign. I like to use it not to steal gold from the players because I'm not after doing that, but it makes the world feel a little more realistic as far as being grounded onto the world. And I like that because when I've tried to do worlds and I tried to build a campaign, I want the players when they play their characters to feel like they're in the world and the world is actually living and breathing. In the past, I was just kind of like, "Leh, you know what? Here's a town. Here's the guy that runs the town. Yeah, there's a king somewhere. Who cares?" And those campaigns, while they were probably a lot of fun, uh, didn't feel like the world was alive. And I'm trying to. I notice as I'm getting further into gaming in my career, my life. I want worlds to feel more realistic and alive. Now I'm not talking about realistic as in real life. Realistic as in it feels and lives and breathes. And a taxation system, while most people probably think it's dumb, I think it's an interesting idea, and it just makes the world feel like it's alive and the players are actually part of it and making decisions as far as their characters are concerned versus the world. So I'll throw the screenshot in the other roll of taxes on the website, theevildm.com, my website, with this posting. And don't forget to head over to Spotify if you want to comment. There's a full blown comment system there now. You can comment on YouTube when this eventually gets up on YouTube as well. I know the feed has been having so many issues lately, and YouTube is just being a royal pain in the tuchus when it comes to trying to get it fixed. And the people that instant help support basically read off of scripts and give canned answers, so that does nothing to help me. So I've been trying to tackle it on my own. So if you see the video for the feed go private and then back to public and then private again, it's not me doing it, it's YouTube doing it because there's something messed up in their feed system and they just won't admit it. Anyway, I'm going to head out. That's it for today. Hope you have a great weekend. Keep original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless everyone.